trainer. He's a speaker. He is at 60 pounds less. Sean Salisbury now joining us here on the right, Toe to Gift Sign. Sean is Banuch alongside Jax, 60 pounds less. Sean Salisbury, lean, mean fight machine. You going to make a comeback or something?
I'm about at that weight, and my master's is already done, brother. And then I got the mediators, my mediator license. Finally finished that yesterday after the grind. So all is good.
Sean, you're way too educated for us knuckleheads. I got to tell you, you are way above our.
It's all a cover, brother. It's all cosmetic, right? There you go.
Sean, let me. Can I breathe? Mr. Miyagi told Danny, wax on, wax off. Okay, so let me breathe before I ask you this next question. So this comment by your buddy Mel Kiper comes up about defenses should remove, or there should be a rule to remove cover 2. Okay, now. I breathed. I tried to comprehend. Then I went, what the what? And I said, I'm going to save this for one Sean Salisbury. So you've got the floor because I'm still a little like, shouldn't he stay in his lane? And I don't even understand the concept of why he would bring that kind of a comment up.
No, listen, I've known Mel a lot of years, and I love him. He's a friend. I like him.
Sure.
But even our best friends, family members, kids, we all say something stupid. And we can tell somebody when they say something stupid. Mel, listen, carved out a phenomenal career for himself with this draft, and he works his ass off. But I will tell you this. It's about as dumb a comment as you'll ever hear from a broadcaster. And unfortunately, we got enough of that stuff going on. You'll get some good ones. Mark Schlereth, you'll get some good ones. But then you'll wake up and you'll say, we got a bunch of guys that are stealing money, that are telling us something that's clickbait instead of telling. The fans deserve better than to hear somebody say, take 2 high safeties out of football, move them closer so we can throw the deep ball. And then he went and named 15 quarterbacks in the old school that could throw the deep ball. It's like, well, if my quarterback doesn't know how to beat cover 2 or we can't run the ball, then he needs to get out. Then he probably should hang it up and go find another profession or play in the fraternity league. I love Mel. He couldn't be dumber. And when I see this stuff, the fans deserve better, that we actually have to turn our TVs on and listen to this stuff, and they're getting paid to do this. It is beyond. We've softened up the game. We got great. It's not the players; it's the rules.
Yes,
the rules. And there's players here that go back to the '70s and play, and Elway and Namath, they can play now. Okay, it is the rules, not the players. So when you say it, you say, "Oh, you don't think the athletes are good?" Yes, they're good enough, but we call it soft because the rules have softened up the game, not necessarily the player. But like anything, when you live in the hot air, you get colder easier when it's 60 degrees. When you live in the freezing air, you're hot when you can't handle the heat. Same thing here. If you're with rules that say, well, this is how we do it, then you're not going to, it's going to take a while for you to adjust that. For Mel to say that, that'd be like me saying, you're not allowed to make an eagle putt, so just pick your ball up and take a birdie. It would be like me saying, we're not allowed to run shallow crossers in football. We can't run a 5-yard putt because we want you to throw it deep, so you're not allowed to do it. Or on third down, you can't run the ball. I mean, the gimmicks we already have in the NFL, we've taken away the integrity, and we actually put people on TV to tell us this stuff and pay them 7 figures for us to look at it. The fans, you deserve better than to watch this slop that we have on TV. And quite frankly, it's a lousy narrative, first of all, on football. Secondly, it's never going to happen. It's as dumb as you could get. And to say that for a guy who's smart, it just, when I take him aside, there's no way you can sit there and believe that we want to take 2 high safeties and we can't run that coverage. I mean, you lose instant credibility. You just do. So I can't, and that's why I don't watch that TV stuff anymore, because I don't know if what they're telling me is clickbait. Well, I do, but fans wouldn't know some of them because they're not in that part of it, and our fans are pretty damn smart. I just can't believe we allow that, and nobody checks them on TV because they're afraid to call him. I would have interrupted in the middle of it and blurted out and interrupted him on purpose and said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard from a broadcaster in my life. And by the way, go in the back door to pick up your paycheck and turn it into somebody else.
Sean,
ridiculous. Never going to happen.
Couldn't agree with you more. I want to ask you a question to try to calm you down, I guess, but your USC Trojans, big game tomorrow at Michigan. I know the defense has been a big factor to USC's success so far this season.
Big house.
But, I mean, as a former quarterback, what have you seen from Miller Moss in these first two games, and what do you expect from him or want to see from him in a hostile environment at Michigan in his first road start?
Yeah, great question. First off, he's been, I don't want to say pleasantly surprising because, I mean, surprising. I mean, the extra, after you come away from Caleb Williams, I mean, that's 2 great years of football. We've had a pretty damn good run on quarterbacks there that played at SC. I think this guy's smart. What I love is he gets through his progressions quickly. His eyes move through them, and he hangs in the pocket as long as necessary. He's tough. And it showed me something. He can rip it now. He can throw the ball. So that toughness, I think there's a great leadership. Just in 2 times we've seen him against a team, Utah State, but in their first game against LSU. And he's a really good player. And as we go on, hey, he keeps playing like this, he'll become a name that people know. And I still think people are treading lightly to wonder, well, how good is SC? How good is Miller Moss? He's a really good player. And you could tell. And what I love, and I saw this when I saw Nussmeier in the LSU game and Moss, is that finally we have 2 guys who stuck it out, weren't promised a job, had other quarterbacks in front of them, didn't bolt after 1 year because they thought they should be starting at 18, stayed with the same program, went up through the system, and now they're getting rewarded for playing good football. I love it. As far as the Trojans go, that's a great place to play. It's going to be 110,000. I think Michigan's offense is awful. Mm-hmm. If you can stop the run, they can't beat you. They're going to lose 2 or 3 more games. I firmly believe. Now, they ran the ball last week. If you can do what SC did against LSU and be stout, the greatest improvement on SC's team is their front 7 and that they're physical. It looks like old school SC football. It's only 2 games, so we got to see how it goes. But if you make them one-dimensional, you're beating Michigan in their building, and they should. I think SC's defense can match Michigan's, and SC's offense is light years ahead of Michigan's. And I love the quarterback story for Michigan. Walk on, overcame leukemia. It's a great story. I just don't think they're overly gifted on the offensive side of the ball. So if we don't turn it over, don't give them a short field, and play defense like we did against LSU, I just don't think there's enough points on the board for Michigan unless we give them points. I can't imagine that Michigan can score many points against SC unless we just don't show up.
Hey, Sean Salisbury joining us here on the right to I guess you can also tweet him at Sean Unfiltered. Sean, aside from ASU growing up, USC was my favorite team. I grew up a Catholic kid. How dare I not root for Notre Dame when they took on USC? I'm sorry. I love the colors.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
I love the excitement, the home run hitters, all the above. And you look at USC, and let me paraphrase it by this. I read with the bye week that Lincoln Riley said there was a more physical week than they normally do. Has physicality returned? Why is that a story? And number 2, why is it good for USC to be in the hunt?
Well, football's better when Michigan, Florida State, Ohio State. I mean, when they're down, like when SC was down or when Michigan was going through theirs before Harbaugh got there, it's just not the same. When Alabama wasn't good, it's not the same. It doesn't mean college football is bad. It's good for SC to be, and they're going to have to bow their neck and puff their chest because you're in the Big Ten and they play physical football. So it's good because and plus West Coast, we got to represent somehow. UCLA is not very good, and when you're moving and you're traveling all this time, the world needs to know that they were playing some pretty decent football, and that the move to the Big Ten was a good one. Now they have to be more physical. One is because the conference they're playing in. In the Pac-12, it was Utah, Washington once in a while. They spread you out, throw the ball, and they got quarterbacks and their first-round picks. They needed to get more physical. And for for alumni and former players, to a man, the guys I talked to over the last handful of years, the one thing they always bring up, defense, and the second one is we're just not physical anymore. We look to, and I know that's what we're doing now, but SC alumni and SC players, it's weird, but they don't want to look like we're a finesse team. They don't want to spread. I mean, they'll throw it and do it, but they still want to be able to run it because that's how SC's always been known, even though we've had Heisman Trophy quarterbacks and dominating the line of scrimmage. And we're at a time now in the NFL and in college football, I don't believe you can win a national championship without being, I'm talking about a gut punch, physical, body blow type team. Now you got to have a quarterback that can make throws under pressure, and you better have some speed that can go and kill a team that doesn't have the speed. You got to have perimeter people. But if you give me the greatest offense in the world and a average physicality offensive line and defensive front, you're not winning a national title. You're just not. Kansas City's defense was physical as hell last year. Great quarterback, physical as hell. They carried the team. They're the Super Bowl champions. Finesse teams don't win titles, and they don't sustain great play. So it's good. I know former players like it. It's still a small sample size. And why they do that, Manuch, we used to do it when John Robinson was there. We didn't practice soft. We brought people to the ground. We played 9-on-7. You got in condition going full speed in pads. And while we got teams that want to back off and save your legs at the end of the season, I get it. But you just can't turn a light switch on and off when it comes to physicality. You just can't. You can with finesse, get a guy the ball in space and let him do his thing. But you either got it, and it's really hard to fix during a season because there's no rescue miracle for a team. You're either physical or you're light in the ass, and you're not. And so you better know during the off season and training camp who you are. The identity for SC has always been run it and dominate the line.
3 minutes.
When they don't, they'll put up big numbers, but it'll be nothing but cosmetic and no soul to it. It appears they've got a little more soul, but they're going to be tested physically this week, and it's only going to get tougher from there because the Big Ten ain't no joke. And I think they can hang those long. They're healthy in the front seven. They're active and they can run, but they're really, really physical, which I like.
Sean, another college football question for you. Besides USC, I know we're only 3 weeks in. Who's a team that's caught your eye that you think can either be a CFP contender or even a national championship contender that maybe you didn't think before the season?
Yes, that's a good. Well, we know the Ohio States and the Georgias. They was all the same. I'll tell you, I'm gonna give you a couple. One, it's 6. I'll tell you what. I'm looking forward to Oklahoma game tomorrow. Is Tennessee. They are fast. Josh Heupel is a put your foot on the throat. If he scored 50, he wants to score 60. They're more physical. That young quarterback's a player. That kid is a full-grown man.
2 minutes.
And a talent there. We know the teams in the Big Ten. I thought Penn State would give me more. I know they're still going to be around. It's early. And the other one, the two that stick out for me, and Miami, but they're a blue blood for the most part. But they are, because Florida State and Florida are not the same. Miami got a chance to dominate that conference. They're really friggin' good. Mm-hmm. The other two, like I said, Tennessee, Missouri. Mm-hmm. I love the way they're in a brutal conference. We know that. But I love the way Eli coaches them. I love the way that they play offense, and they get after you. I'm telling you, that's a playoff team. I think Tennessee's a playoff team. And if you decide to say, oh, it's Missouri, same thing will end up happening, you're going to get beat. So those are two teams, and there's plenty more that stick out. But those two in particular, I'm like, this is different. You got to have the quarterback. Tennessee does. Missouri can play. You got to have coaches with guts, and you got to have some athletic talent, and you got to have some physicality, and both of them do.
1 minute.
This game in Oklahoma tomorrow with Tennessee is going to be fun, and Missouri, whether it's Alabama, anybody that they run into, it's no longer broadcast school Missouri or sometimes basketball. This is a football playing Jesse school. They know how to get after it, and a lot of that's the culture that Drinkwitz set for them. I like those two teams. Now, I don't know if they can win it, but I'll damn well tell you, there's no bye week. You're going to have to show up.
Sean, when folks find you on the iHeartRadio app, what's the big game plan for Monday? What do you got going on 7:90 a.m. in Houston?
Well, we're going to talk about just if the Vikings or if Sam Darnold is taking his game to another level. A lot of Texans talk, obviously, and see they're 2-0 and haven't played their best football. They got to protect the passer, stop the penalties. We'll talk a lot about the vertical passing game because I think they're going to challenge the blitz because Brian Flores blitzes as much as anybody. They're going to get after it, throwing the ball down the field. And we'll talk Astros. The magic number is down to 5. And after all these injuries, they're still going to win the division, and they're dangerous. So that'll be the two main topics. And then we'll crush college football as we always do, and with Texas and TCU and Oklahoma and LSU and Baylor, who's headed up to Colorado. Those are always good talks. So we'll hit it all, and we'll hit it hard on Monday. And I'm sure some broadcaster will say something stupid over the weekend, so we have more content. Okay?
There he goes.
Hey, you know what I decided? You know what, Manute, I'll leave you with this. Here's what I think needs to happen. The next thing you're going to hear some guy go on there and say, listen, we can only rush 4. That's the only, you're only allowed to rush 4. And then you got to count 3 alligators like we used to when we were playing in the backyard. 1 alligator. Then you can rush the passer. Now I'm and I tell you, if I'm
when able.
going on Dan's show tomorrow, I'm going to say that on Dan Patrick's show. Not tomorrow, Monday. I am going to say we got to count the 3 alligators before you can rush the passer. That's the next move.
Oh, there he goes. An educated, svelte Sean Salisbury. Just go to @Sean Unfiltered. Sean, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. You too.
That's it. Sean Salisbury, sponsored today by All City Towing. Join the team at largest towing company in the state, All City Towing. They're hiring dispatcher, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, and customer service personnel. Enjoy benefits like the most advanced towing equipment, set work schedules, healthy 401k employment match, health benefits, employer-paid life insurance, and a monthly fuel allowance. Now, ready to take your career to the next level? Well, visit them at allcitytowing.com. That's allcitytowing.com. All City Towing, where your future is on the move. Well, coming up, it's week number 4 in college and week 3 in the